Be a tutorial about how to create a line graph in the APA style, which would be suitable for publications in a scientific journal. The example I'm going to walk through here is a data set which is comparing the body mass changes across for a 12-month period in a group of individuals who are overweight, and they either in one group have a placebo, so basically they take a sugar pill and then they track their weight over time, or there's another group in this data set which is a group which receives Ozempic, so that popular weight loss drug, and they also had their weight tracked over the course of 12 months. What we have in our Excel spreadsheet here is typical as to what you would have as a data set for a particular research project. We have each individual participant on the left-hand side here, what group they're assigned to, and what their scores were at each time point measured in the study. So we have a factor of group, placebo and Ozempic, and we have a factor of time, which is baseline, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. We would want to visually plot this data by going and creating a line graph in Excel. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the first thing we want to do when we're plotting any sort of figure is to create the summary statistics. If the data is normally distributed, then we will present it as the mean and standard deviation for each level of each factor. If it's not normally distributed, then we would typically report it as the median and interquartile range. So in other words, that's showing what the average or the measure of central tendency is as a data point, and then we have some error bars around that data point showing the dispersion of the data. I'm going to show you how to create the means first in Excel. So I've got the raw data here, and we need to create a mean for each factor, each level of each factor. So I'm just going to type in mean and SD here for mean and standard deviation in one column. And I just need to quickly create the means for each set of data here. To do that in Excel, if you just click on an empty cell and type equals average, average means pretty much the same as the mean. So that's what you're going to want to type in, or click the suggestion as it appears. And then you just want to click and hold the left mouse button and drag all of the data in the placebo group at the baseline time point. So you can see that's all highlighted in blue. I'm going to press enter, and that's going to create the mean. To do the same with the standard deviation, all we're going to do is do equals STDEV, open a bracket, and then I'm just going to select all of that same data again. So all of the individual data points at baseline in the placebo group. And I'm going to hit enter. So now I have the mean value and the standard deviation value for the baseline measure in the placebo group. Now I just need to do this for all other time points in the rest of the placebo group and all of the Ozempic group. We can do this nice and easily by highlighting both of the values that we just calculated. If you move your mouse cursor to the bottom right, this black crosshair pops up, as you can see. Click and hold the left mouse button and drag that across to the right. What you're going to see that is going to do is that it's going to copy the formula across to the adjacent columns. So it means that we don't have to type in those formulas again. You can see that it's created all the means and standard deviations there. Now we're just going to do that for the Ozempic group. So I'm going to come to the bottom of the Ozempic group, and I'm going to type in mean, I'm going to type in SD for standard deviation, make that bold. Doesn't matter if you make it bold or not, but it just helps you see. And then just repeating that process. So equals average, highlighting all the Ozempic baseline data, hitting enter, going equals standard deviation, highlighting all of that data again, hitting enter, highlighting both cells, and dragging the formula across to copy it. So this is the numbers that will be presented in our figure here. So now we've got them, we're in a position where we can actually create our line graph. So to do that, click on an empty cell here, doesn't matter where. Come to the top here and go Insert, and then come over to the middle and you'll see this symbol here, which is Insert Line or Area Chart. If you click the drop down for that, it gives you a few different options. As long as you select any of these 2D line graphs, then it will work fine. But what I like to do is select line with markers, because this will save us a bit of time later with formatting. As you can see, now it's created a blank rectangle, which is essentially our blank figure. Now we need to add the data to it. So I'm going to go to right click on this blank rectangle, select data. And then this is going to be the window where I select the data that I want to add. So what I need to do is to add the means and standard deviations for the placebo and Ozempic group to this. So I'm going to first start by clicking Add, and then it's going to open another window. And it's going to ask me what I want this series name to be called. So your series you can think of as your group. So we had a placebo group, so I'm going to name it placebo. And then for the series values, I'm going to want to just delete this part here so that the box is empty. And then I'm going to click and hold my left mouse button, and I'm going to highlight the mean values I just created for the placebo group for each time point. So I'm going to go from left to right by clicking it and holding the left mouse button. And I'm going to highlight those 5 values. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit Add again. I'm going to do the same for the Ozempic group. So I'm going to scroll down now, type in Ozempic because that's the group name, series values. I'm just going to highlight from left to right the means at each time point. So that's okay there. Now, if you look on the right hand side, it's created some boxes which are labeled 1 to 5. This is the x-axis scale, which is referred to also as the horizontal axes. So what we need to do here is label our time points of the data set. So we've labeled the groups, our first factor, now we just need to label our time factor here. So to do that, we simply click Edit. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to select the names of our time points. So baseline, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Select all those and hit OK. What you can do is that you can enter these in manually. Say if you wanted to call baseline, maybe BL to shorten it, then you can type in anything manually. But then if you want to then separate to then create a new label for the next portion of the x-axis, you would simply put a comma. And then you could then name it whatever. You could highlight the cells or type it in. So you're just going to be careful with the formatting there. It didn't like it when I did that. So I'm just going to highlight those to keep it simple. And you know it's right when you have all the correct label names appearing in order. So if I come back up to my created chart, now you can see that I have the means that are presented in the graph here. And we know that they're approximately real because if we look at the data points and correspond that to the means that we've calculated, they corroborate, they make sense. So that's how to create and add your data. In the next part, we'll look at how to add the error bars.